Trip Show.
Yo, this is test one.
Yeah, this is Smooth Jilla. Smooth G, aka the General.
This is Norberly Ray.
And you tuned in to GFG TV.
And you tuned in to GFG TV.
General, and we rocking with GFG TV, my boys. West.
And you're watching GFG TV.
West YouTube, this your boy Big Ray West. You tuned in to GFG TV.
Yo, what's up? This is DJ X, and we're live here at GFG TV. Bus pulls up, and then Sid comes out with all his tattoos. And I didn't recognize him. He had all his tattoos. He was like, "Hey, I know who you are." I was like, "Nah, trust me. You like, I don't know who you are." He's like, "No. I know exactly who you are." It was like, "No, trust me. I've never seen you. Like, just keep it moving, you know." He's like, no. You're the guy that I remember back in, this year, 96. I don't remember if it was 96 or 97. You were teaching me how to scratch or whatever, right? He's like, "Hey, remember that band I was talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, that's Slipknot." Like, "Here's the bus." It's like, "Oh, damn." So I was like, it was a shocker. I was like, "Wow." It was like, "Hey, hold on. Just hold on a second." He went inside the bus, brought everybody out, Clown and all the people. He was like, "Hey, look. This guy right here, he's the reason that I'm at where I'm at because of this guy right here. He's the one that taught me how to scratch, do all that stuff and everything."
That's tight as fuck.
And I was like, in total shock. I was like, wow, like I just couldn't believe it, but I had that huge impact on people, and that could have been an opportunity for me, but because, I was so in love with hip hop and he was so in love with that kind of music, like, I'd rather help him, than to try to do it myself. And not, it's just one of those deals where, like, I'm passionate about something and I was willing to teach somebody to get to that level, so, but I mean, we didn't know that was going to happen, but hey, but that's a crazy story,
That's dope.
Yeah, we got autographs that day, and yep. And people ask him too, like, when they see him around, I was like, "Hey, is it true that Mexican guy?" It's like, yeah, it's true, so, but,
That's dope. Some history.
But yeah,
and in the moment, you probably had no idea it was happening.
Yeah, I didn't know, so.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So, you were introduced to music in Texas, and that's where you kind of fell in love with it. Do you remember, kind of a time where music kind of took you over? Do you remember how old you were? Or?
I remember because I was a DJ at that time I was a DJ for like 10 years, and I remember DJing at parties and stuff like that, and clubs, and that time people would smoke in clubs. I was just like, man, I just can't do this anymore. Like, I'm not even a smoker, and it's just like, oh. Yeah. It's like when you don't smoke and you smell like secondhand smoke, that's like the worst smell. It's like, just like, So I just had enough. I didn't want to do it anymore. So in 2001, my brother, which is like he's like my biggest supporter, he convinced me. He's like, "Hey, let's do this studio thing," and I was like, but I don't have the money to get anything, like, I don't even know anything about it. And he's like, "I got the money," like, he was doing a little trapping, whatever, so he wanted to use this money, and he bought all this equipment. And I was like, "What do you think we need?" He's like, "I don't know anything," I was like, I'm new to it too, so at that time we grabbed there wasn't even computers at that time. We had those little, like, there was a little multi-track, they had a cassette on it, and then, you recorded and had a little mixer and stuff like that. And I think it was a Fostix, I don't remember. But had a little keyboard, and, just started making beats a little by little, I think it was like a Casio keyboard, I don't remember. And we just started that way, and, just started doing it as a hobby, just rapping here and there in the weekends, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It was nothing serious, And then I remember a friend of mine, he told me, like, "Hey, I know this guy that, he sounds like exactly like Tupac or whatever, I was like, "Oh yeah?" I was like, "Yeah, he's from Atlanta." His name was DeMarco, and I was like, well, he says he sounds better than him, whatever. I was like, all right, whatever. So I got him in there, and we did a whole mixtape together, and I was like, wow, this is nice. I mean, the quality was shitty, but, it was just a good experience, We did a project together in 2001, and then at that time, I remember, I don't know, like, how, like, the trappers, they have their good days, they have their bad days, like, they'll have money, then they're broke. Well, now he's broke, and now, he had to sell the studio equipment, so I was like, oh. So then people came back to me and like, hey, you still have that studio? It's like, nah, man, that was my brother's, he sold it all. It's like, oh, shit. So 2 years without studio equipment or nothing, And I was kind of missing it too, I was like, I don't want to go back to the DJ stuff. I don't like to smoke. I've done all that stuff before. I'm kind of intrigued about this studio thing, So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start buying my own stuff little by little, This, this little job that I have. So I started buying. I remember that time I started buying. I think I bought a little computer. By that time they already had computers and stuff, and a little keyboard or whatever. And I met. This was in late 2002, I think it was. I met Mad Dog. He goes by Young Alistair right now. And I remember that time I had a microphone, and it was a real thin microphone, like one of those like office microphones or whatever. Yeah. And he came in, and he's like, at that time he was probably like 14, 15 years old, I think. And he came in and he started yelling. I mean, I didn't know nothing about preamps, which would preamplify the sound of the microphone, and I didn't know anything about that. He started yelling and yelling and yelling, and he got tired, his throat hurt, and he was like, F that, man, I'm leaving, I don't want to do this anymore. So I just started researching more about, better equipment, and a few weeks passed by and something like that, I got a better microphone. It's like, hey, I got this other microphone, like, let's try it out, and then he came back, and it was like, oh yeah, it's a little bit better, it was a Shure, but it was a $100 mic, but hey, it was way better than screaming with that little thing, that we had before. And we started getting more people to come around, and it was just like a hobby and stuff like that. And that's how I really started, And that was pretty much like the birth of B.O.P. Back in those days. So.
What's B.O.P. mean?
A friend of mine, because my brother and his friend and his other friend, they were always smoking blunts, right? So everybody was a smoker except me, but you gotta go with what everybody, like majority folks. Mm-hmm. And one of the guys said like, hey, B.O.P, like Blunted Out Productions. It was like, and everybody's like, yeah, they're all stoners, so it's like they agreed to it. It's like, all right, whatever, like I don't even smoke, but yeah, we'll do that, we'll keep that, whatever, so.
And what time frame was this around? Like what years?
Late 2002, 2003.
2002 and 2003.
Yep.
So is that like, were you guys doing shows around that time?
The crazy thing was that around that time, we didn't start doing shows. It was the birth of B.O.P, and at that time, not too many people were rapping. I mean, we heard of Corey D, we heard of Team Liquid, but not too many people were rapping, because at that time, like, if you didn't have talent, people would make fun of you. It's not like right now where anybody can rap and it's whatever, like it gets accepted, So at that time, you have to have real good talent. So here's one of the crazy things that I would do, like me and Mad Dog, be like, hey, let's just drive around town, And it sounds real crazy. We would drive around downtown, and it's like we would look for somebody. It's like, let's go look for talent. And once in a while you'll see somebody walking and they'll be like rapping to themselves or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then we saw somebody, is like, yep, that's him right there. Boom, let's go. We pulled up. It's like, well, what up? It's like, hey, are you rapping or something? It's like, yeah. It's like, hey, we got a little studio that we just built or whatever. It's like, you want to hang out or whatever? It's like, my brother's like, we got some blunts too. It's like, yeah, let's go, and that's how it started, the recruiting process or whatever, so. Yeah. And at that time I remember I met T-Bear too at that time. My girl back in those days, she, I think it was like her friend, they were friends or something with T-Bear's girl or something, so They came over for Thanksgiving, I think it was. I don't remember what it was. It was a holiday or whatever. And he saw the little studio and was like, hey, yeah, I can rap too, I can sing too. And, you know, that's when we got together too, so.
What year you think that was?
That was about 2003. Yeah, 2003, yeah. So at that point, word in the streets were spreading that, hey, this guy's got a little studio, like, you know, and at that time I was like the opportunity for like everybody that didn't have an opportunity to come and rap or whatever, you know, and there'll be a lot of times, like, I remember it was like every Monday or something like that, they would just play music and anybody could come, and it's kind of like an open mic, and they came in, and we would always be like, hey, whoever has the best 3 verses, get in the song. If you don't have the best 3 verses, you ain't getting in the song, you know. And that's how we did our you know, mixtapes and stuff like that. But I would make the beats back in those days, and in 2001, that's when I started making beats, and that was another passion that I started liking too a lot. But back in those days, it was nice because, again, we didn't have no computers. I just had a keyboard, you know, so everything had to be from scratch. I had to play everything. It was everything I had to play, you know, it was more interactive, you know. Nowadays, it's just everything's computerized, click a button, whatever, the mouse, you know, but everything, that I had to buy these keyboards, you know, and we have to make the beats and stuff like that. So I would always make the beat and best 3 verses, get on the song, and boom. And that's how we started making our mixtapes and stuff.
Did you sing or rap at that time?
I used to rap back in the days, but I didn't want to be the focus of rapping. And since my brother was like my biggest supporter, we call him Monster X, but he was my biggest supporter. He wanted to rap too, and I said, you know what? I'll just write for you, you know. So Mad Dog was writing his own stuff, T-Bear was writing his own stuff, and I just ghostwrite for him, and he would do his, you know, he had the better voice, and you know, he wanted to do it, and I was just too focused on trying to record, trying to make beats and stuff like that, trying to produce, trying to do all the stuff. So that's pretty much how it went down. Yeah.
Did you ever ghostwrite for anybody else?
No, never. No, I've helped like develop artists. I helped produce artists, but I really didn't like sit down and write a song for somebody else. No. Just for my brother that back in those days, because I've always been too busy, you know, making beats or recording or doing all that stuff.
So, would you say that Mad Dog and T-Bear, those like the first guys you recorded?
Yeah, actually it was DeMarco in 2001, but I think he was here just for the summer from Atlanta. So it counted, but it wasn't like a solid foundation. I think the solid foundation started in 2002, 2003 with, you know, Mad Dog and T-Bear and them. So that felt more like a family, like a solid foundation. So
are you still an active DJ? Do you do that at all anymore?
No, I haven't been active since a long time. I think over like 10, 15 years. Once in a while I get a phone call like, hey, you're interested in DJing here or there? It's like, nah, I'll just refer it to somebody else, you know.
Yeah. And as far as genre, you know, what do you enjoy recording, mixing the most? We've talked a lot about hip hop, but is there anything else?
Yeah, well, before I get into that, I was doing all this with the B.O.P and stuff like that. It was more like a hobby. I mean, we're kind of like serious, but you know. And then I remember there was another transition. I mean, it was just like music was always like changing and stuff. So I think it was in around 2006, I think it was. The reggaeton music started, like it was just like, it was brand new and stuff like that. And then I had some other people from the land community like, hey, you know, like we heard you have a studio, you make beats and stuff. Do you know how to make reggaeton beats? It was nothing new. I liked the challenge, so I just started doing that. And
West YouTube, this your boy Big Ray West. You tuned in to GFG TV.